I often get asked why I use sake so much in my recipes. And the simple answer is that sake is used as a seasoning. And like any seasoning, it's added to make food taste better.
So, what's the magic behind sake? Well, if you think about the reasons why people drink sake, one of the first things that probably comes to mind is the alcohol. Sake is made by fermenting rice, and ethanol is one of the byproducts. The thing is, alcohol has a much lower boiling point than water, so when sake is cooked, most of the alcohol evaporates. That's why you don't need to worry about getting drunk off of food you've cooked with sake.
Sake also contains a bunch of aromatic compounds like esters and aldehydes, which give it aromas that range from things like melons and bananas to wood and leaves. These are what gives sake its unique flavor, but the high temperatures involved in cooking destroys a lot of these compounds.
So, if we're vaporizing the alcohol and killing the aromas, why even cook with sake at all? Well, sake contains compounds called amino acids, and some of these compounds create the taste of umami. You've probably heard the word umami used to describe food before, but what is umami and what does sake have to do with it?
Over this 4-part series, I'm going to attempt to give you the definitive answer to those questions by traveling around Japan and talking to scientists, brewers, and chefs who are a lot smarter than me. This wouldn't have been possible without our sponsor for this series, Hakutsuru. With a history dating back over 275 years and a huge variety of sake available in over 40 countries, they're an authentic brand of sake that's available almost anywhere.
Speaking of long histories, humans have been seeking out ways to add umami to food for thousands of years. Ancient Romans used to ferment scraps of fish with salt to make garum, and in Asia, soy sauce has been a cornerstone of the cuisine for at least 2,000 years. But it wasn't until 1907 when Japanese chemist Ikeda Kikunai isolated glutamic acid from kelp that the source of this crave-worthy taste was discovered. In fact, Professor Ikeda postulated that this amino acid created a taste that's distinct from the sweet, salty, sour, and bitter tastes known to science at the time, and he called the taste umami.
In retrospect, it may seem pretty obvious, but Ikeda's discovery was controversial, and umami's place as a basic taste was debated for years. That changed around 20 years ago when researchers discovered several taste receptors that were capable of detecting the presence of glutamate in food.
You see, when you put food in your mouth, the different compounds that make it up, like salt or sugar, wash over your taste buds, which are like a network of sensors looking for a specific taste. When they find a match, they signal your brain to let you know that you're tasting something. In this case, our friend here just got a hit for glutamate, and boy does he look happy.
But glutamate isn't the only compound that can trigger these taste buds. Other amino acids like aspartic acid as well as nucleic acids like IMP and GMP can also be detected as umami.
Let's see what happens when our friend here eats a mushroom. Dried mushrooms are loaded with GMP, and together with glutamate, it looks like this taste bud has hit the jackpot. That's because glutamate can have a synergistic relationship with other umami compounds like GMP and IMP. When these compounds hook up on our taste buds, 1 + 1 ends up equaling something more like 10.
So why do we have these taste buds that detect these obscure compounds?
Well, amino acids are the building blocks for protein, and their anions like glutamate and aspartate function as neurotransmitters. So it wouldn't be a stretch to say that our bodies are built with amino acids. There's still a lot we don't know about amino acids and their function in the human body. But one thing we do know is that breast milk is loaded with amino acids, so we were literally born craving umami. But it doesn't end there. Humans tend to continue craving umami, which is why glutamate-rich ingredients like milk, soybeans, and tomatoes can taste so good. Dried mushrooms are where you're gonna find GMP, and meat, poultry, and seafood are where you get IMP.
Fermented foods are also a rich source of amino acids, and this is where sake comes in.
The fermentation process creates umami compounds like glutamate and aspartate. This is why pairing sake with food, and even cooking with it, can make food taste so much better.
So now you know all about umami, but in the next episode, I'm headed to Hyogo Prefecture to learn more about sake. I'll be visiting a farm to learn about the rice that's used for making sake, and we're also going to be checking out Hakutsuru's brewery to see how sake is brewed. Then I'm going to be talking with a researcher that studies fermentation to find out just how this little grain of rice can be turned into something so magical.